Good morning, everyone. It's Sal, Stretford Post. How you all doing? And welcome to another episode, an early episode of Breaking Dawn. I hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing fine. Thank you for joining me at such late notice, guys. I know it's a little bit earlier today, but I've got to go a couple of places, so I thought I'd do it an hour early today, of course, guys. But thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're all doing well. Please, before I start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video, put your notifications on, all that great stuff. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Now, let's delve straight into it now. 24 hours. Almost 24 hours since Manchester United drew 2-2 with Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which was, in the end, I mean, it was disappointing. It was frustrating in regards to another draw. And I'm not going to flip-flop from this. I'm not going to flip-flop from what I said a bit before the game. I said that if we draw the game, it's not the end of the world. However, what I would say about the game is that that game was there for the taking. I would understand if the game was difficult and, you know, it was a great game. We played well, but we just 2-2-2. But I just generally believe there are fundamental problems at Manchester United. And this is not down to the manager. This is not down to individual players. This is down to a mentality. And it's something that I've been speaking about for a long time now, guys. I've been speaking about mentality for a long time at Manchester United. And we seem to have these 20 to 30-minute periods in games where we're completely rubbish. Now, a lot of people are going to blame the substitutes. Now, we would be lying if we said that we weren't happy with the substitutes at the time. Casemiro was off his legs. Players were tired. We were being dominated by Spurs at that time. And let's be honest, before Spurs got those 2 goals, we were being dominated there, guys. Now, it's pretty obvious that there is a cultural mentality issue because the game almost replicated the game against Nottingham Forest. The same thing, 1-0 up, half-time. But this time, we were 80 minutes into the game. We were winning the game, guys. We were winning the game with 10 minutes to go. 2 quick-fire goals. You know? And this has got to be concerning going forward because this hasn't been happening just under Ruben Amorim. This has been happening under Erik ten Hag. You know, the same thing where for 20, 30 minutes, we just go missing. Null and void, we go missing. Yeah, individual mistakes do cost us. Some players haven't got the mentality. Now, we have to take it back all the way to the beginning of the game. And we look at the lineup. And we look at the team that he brought out. We have too many players in this team that have flattered to deceive over the last some decade. Some have been here over a decade. Why are these players still getting into the team? I'm talking about Maguire, Luke Shaw, Bruno Fernandes, all these players. They're still in the team. Now, look, you can argue that, you know what, Fernandes should have came off, Ugarte should have came on Fernandes, Casemiro should have stayed on the pitch, we should have kept a double pivot and maintained the game. But this should have been done a long time ago because when the second half started, and, you know, the funniest thing is that many of us were predicting at halftime that we don't want to go into another Nottingham Forest situation. We've been here before. And this is the thing. Man United, even under Erik ten Hag, have a habit of capitulating. I sometimes feel that Man United would be better if we were 1-0 down at the start of the game. Because when we're losing, then we turn it on. Then we turn it on. Look, Man United in the first half were comfortable. I couldn't see Tottenham scoring 2 goals. I really couldn't see it. I couldn't see it happening. I couldn't see Tottenham scoring 2 goals. I was looking at it and thinking, Tottenham blunt, they're not going to do anything, you know? But then obviously, and we get reminded by reality with this team, with this culture at the football club, with this mentality at this football club, that at any given moment, we could capitulate like a ton of bricks. We could just throw in that, like, you know, I mean, the way we could see goals sometimes, it's like we completely panic. It's like, oh my God. Now, before the goal, guys, before the goal goes in, I was saying on the stream, that we need a captain. We are getting dominated here. We're going to concede a goal. We need a captain here. We need a Roy Keane. We need someone like that to grab the players by the neck and say, come on, lads, get on with it. Stop this nonsense. We didn't have that. Bruno go missing again, and Bruno is the captain of the bloody ship. He's the captain. He's the sole responsibility of this team on the pitch. Like Roy Keane was a manager on the pitch, we need Bruno Fernandes there sometimes to make some vocal noises, not just throw his arms around. That's not a captain. Bruno Fernandes, if I was going to criticize One thing about Ruben Amorim is Bruno Fernandes. He gets dominated midfield. He's ill-disciplined in his position. We brought on Ugarte. Ugarte wasn't good, but neither was Bruno. And Bruno wasn't making any challenges. He wasn't making any tackles in that midfield. At the right time in the game, we need to look at the game in the second half and say, right, we're getting dominated in midfield here. Let's bring on Ugarte, keep him with Casemiro in the middle, as a double pivot, so to speak. That's what we needed to do. We needed to keep the double pivot and maintain the game, keep the game tight. We got all the way to the 80th minute. We didn't need to make so many changes, right? We didn't. Dorgu played well. Didn't need to take him off. Bringing on Dalot, for me, suicide, right? That's suicide. Of course it is. And obviously the Ugarte thing. But we look at the subs and we look at the changes within the team and we look at it, and it's just such a similarity every single time. But this just goes to show you guys, there's a mentality issue at this football club. There's a cultural issue at this football club. This club, these players, some of these players, and as a whole, it does obviously become an infection. It becomes a bacterial infection within the team that when the going gets tough, we're like, oh my God, like we're panicking. That's not down to Ruben Amorim. That's down to players. That's down to mentality. That's down to culture. How comes we could dominate games, be comfortable in games, like we were against Forest in the first half, like we were against Spurs in the first half, and huge periods of the game against Fulham, guys, and over the last year or so, 2 years, I would say, that when we get into games, we play well, we're all good, it's comfortable, but when adversity strikes, bang, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. Now, we've proven that we can do it. We've gone to Anfield and we've won. We've beaten Chelsea. We've beaten Sunderland. And look at Sunderland yesterday, guys. Look at Sunderland. We've beaten Sunderland. They drew 2-2 and they should have beat Arsenal yesterday. They drew 2-2 with Arsenal. We beat Sunderland. We beat Chelsea. We beat obviously we beat Liverpool away, right? And we beat Brighton. Okay, so we've proven that we can do it. But the problem is there's something lurking in the background every single time with this team, right? That when the going gets tough, if a little bit of adversity strikes, we PTSD on the pitch and then capitulate. That's what we do. Absolutely. And I would say that we can blame individuals till the cows come home, but it's a collective. We were not playing well from the start of the second half. And when we made those changes, every single person in this stream said that, yeah, I agree with those changes. I think they're right. They're good. Everyone. You know what I mean? Because Casemiro was off his feet. We all said bring on Sesko to hold up the ball. So, guys, look, at the end of the day, there is a collective issue. And in my opinion, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, it stems from the captain. It stems from the captain. I think Bruno Fernandes, in moments, is a world-class player. In moments, in little bits, right? Bits like the corner, for example, for De Ligt. But as a collective, if you're going to analyze his game as a whole, I just feel that, you know what, he's ill-disciplined and he's not a midfielder anyway. He's not a midfielder. He's not number 8. And we are Bagel FC in there. Now, when you scroll back to Ruud van Nistelrooy, and when we had Ruud van Nistelrooy in the team, managing the team for that short period of time, when we had Ruud van Nistelrooy, what was the best periods of play that we had? What was the best games that we had? Double pivot, wasn't it? Ugarte Casemiro, wasn't it? Ugarte Casemiro, it was a double pivot. We were playing a double pivot. I think if you're playing this formation and these tactics, you need to solidify that midfield, because at the moment, we are weak in midfield. We are dud in midfield. We can't control the game because the midfield is not good enough. The midfield is the energy of the team. Now, this is exactly why we said we had a 4 out of 5 out of 10 window. We had a 4 out of 5 out of 10 window. This is exactly why we said this, because we needed those midfielders in there, right? We needed those midfielders in there. Now, you can imagine if we had a couple of midfielders brought in the summer. Guys, we're not far away. The league is wide open. We're not far away, but if we won yesterday, we would have been way up there, lads. Well, you know what I mean? At the end of the day. So, but anyway, we're still in touching distance. We're unbeaten in 5, right? Great. Okay, that's good. But the problem is this kind of football is not sustainable. This kind of football where we're relying on last-minute goals, last-minute equalizers, moments of brilliance, luck, it's not sustainable. Of course, luck is part of football. Absolutely, luck is part of football. You have luck in football. That's part of football. But what I would say is this, right? You need an element of control as well. We're not controlled. We're kamikaze. You know, you don't know what's going to happen next. I just don't understand. Because, look, I want to give you an example, guys. I want to give you an example as to why it's a mental thing. When we go behind, we start playing well. Why is that? Why is that? Why did we need a slap in the face to start playing well? It doesn't make sense, does it, at the end of the day? So we could look at that. We could look at individual mistakes. We could look at this, we could that. And I'm not going to individualize it. Absolutely not going to individualize it. That's not what I'm here to do. But guys, I just want to read out some of my match ratings. I gave Semi Lemens a 7.2. The reason is because I felt Semi Lemens gave some good performances, some great saves, guys. And I thought Selemens kept us in the game at times. He was brilliant, but we still conceded 2 goals. That shows how much we gave away, guys. My man of the match for the game was De Ligt. I felt De Ligt saved us. So I don't think that, you know, there was many candidates, but I felt De Ligt obviously was a captain. De Ligt represents more of what a captain is than Sesko. He represents more what a captain is than Sesko, in my opinion. In my opinion, he's more of a captain. I would say that, guys. I would say that. Absolutely. Guys, don't forget, have you smashed a like yet? Don't forget to smash a like on the stream, guys. Thank you, everyone who's joining me this morning, guys. Sorry about the early, guys. Absolutely sorry about the early thing, of course. Absolutely. Big up everyone in the stream. Big up Ryan. What's going on? Morning. Amram cost us the game. I think Amram cost us the game. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think these players cost us the game. They're mentally weak. The thing is, if we can't bring on substitutes, what's the point? These players were tough. These players were being dominated at the start of the second half. You know, at the start of this second half, these players are being dominated. Let's not lie here. We were being dominated. They were going to score anyway. We were being dominated. So let's not blame that. We had to bring on substitute. It's not Ruben Amram's fault that these players, who are not his, by the way, can come on the pitch and not perform. This is exactly what we're saying about Mainu. This is exactly what we're saying about Ugarte. We do not have squad in depth, equality in depth. We don't have quality in depth. That's the problem with Man United. Now, we could have kept it as it is and just held out. The only argument you can, he made too many substitutes, maybe. But then again, hindsight's a beautiful thing when you're thinking about it. Good morning, Sanjay. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Big up, Kenny. What's going on? Big up, Sal. Gutted about the drop points, but De Ligt saved the point. Yeah, at the end of the day, look, we were down to 10 men. I think people forget this. And we came back. But that just goes to show you, doesn't it? There is a perfect example. Just like when we played Arsenal last season, we were down to 10 men and we beat Arsenal at the Emirates. When this team, when the chips are down, right? When we're losing, we seem to find this new lease of life that is like, wow, where did we get that from? Where was that the whole game? Do you know what I mean? We seem to find this lease of life that comes into play and you're like, what the hell did that come from? Absolutely. Defensive and midfield errors, exactly. And this is the thing. We don't have quality in depth. The midfield was bagel Westy at the end of the day, guys. Absolutely. Big up Sanjay, by the way. Big up. Apparently, we can't even park the bus properly. We can't park the bus properly because we got players in that team that are petulant, giving away the ball. There were many times when Bruno Fernandes was giving away the ball. Our team was giving away the ball, right? We've got weakness, mentality, and physically and mentality weakness. Ahmad's a good player. Ahmad's weak, right? He's got small legs. He can't run. I mean, and that's the thing. You know what I mean? He's got, and we got players all around the pitch are not physically strong. We don't know how to get the foot stuck in. You know what I mean? We don't have those guys in that team that get that foot stuck in, that can drive the game forward with strength. We don't have that. Bruno Fernandes keeps giving away the ball. There were patches of play, and during the game when Bruno Fernandes was giving away the ball, he was giving away the ball and kept giving away the ball. And this is our captain. You know what I mean? Running into trouble, things like that. When we just needed to relax the game, and we were saying it during the game. We were saying that we need to keep the game calm, relax the game a little bit, pass the ball a little bit, relax the game, narrow the pitch a little bit, and don't let them get any chances. We had 9 minutes until the end of the game. We were 1-0 up. I mean, it's Tottenham. And you know what? We should hold out, regardless what the substitutes were, who missed this chance, who did that chance. At the end of the day, we self-capitulated. No manager sends a team out there to self-capitulate. Absolutely. The subs are meant to have impact, but they didn't do that. No manager blame, please. Look, at the end of the day, Kenny, this is the thing. Hindsight is a beautiful thing. And the thing is that if Ruben Amorim can't make any substitutes, Tottenham made all their substitutes. If Ruben Amorim can't make all these substitutes, if he doesn't have the quality to bring on when players are dead on their knees, and guys, we were being dominated before the substitutes, right? Let's get it right. We were getting dominated before the substitutes. We might have even lost. Right? Let's be real. Right? So at the end of the day, if Ruben Amorim can't make substitutes, that's not down to Ruben Amorim. That's down to the quality in the squad. That's down to upstairs. That is what it's about. Because who can you bring on if he doesn't trust anyone? And this is exactly what we're saying about Mainu, about Ugarte, about Xerxes, about these players who are just maybe don't have the mentality. Cristiano Ronaldo said it the other day. There are some players in this team that don't know what it means to play for Man United. This is what Cristiano Ronaldo said that the other day. Exactly that. Exactly. Look, who was on the pitch when we capitulated against for that little period against Nottingham Forest? Was Ugarte on the pitch? Was he? At the end of the day, this is a mentality issue. This is a culture issue. And this is something that has been going on for a long time. We could pick the bones and say the manager should this, a manager should that, manager shouldn't make the changes, blah, blah, blah. Fine, right? But at the end of the day, this is too predictable. We predicted this. Many of us at halftime predicted that Man United could capitulate. Let's not forget Nottingham Forest game. How many times did we say that? Let's not forget the Nottingham Forest game, Sesko must have taken comments to heart. It was a great tackle, David Sass. It was a great tackle. Amorim needs to sub off Bruno. He wasn't good, and why Heaven and Euro didn't start the game. This is where, Ryan, I get it. But Man United were good enough to win against Spurs. Man United didn't lose that game because of the manager. Draw that game because of the manager. Man United drew that game because of petulance. Man United drew that game because of incompetence. Man United drew that game because we kept giving away the ball, and it wasn't the substitute. Right? And you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, look, there were a couple of great goals, by the way. Very good goals from Tottenham. Right? But we do this a lot, no matter who's on the pitch. We were being dominated before. Now, I agree with you there, Ryan. I agree. Aiden Heaven and Lenny Ora should start. For me, I've said it at the beginning of the season, Ryan. I'll say it now. And I will tell Ruben Amorim this. What's the difference? You might as well just think of the future. Forget about this leadership group. And we said it from the beginning, guys. This leadership group, the only thing they're leaders in is having experience in losing games and drawing games and letting us down. That's the only leadership they have within themselves. They have the leadership of what is it? It's about a sheep leading the wolves. What's the leadership in that? Do you know what I mean? Is Heaven? No, I think he's all right. But my man of the match again was thingy, absolutely. Bruno was Delict, absolutely. Bruno was gone missing as per usual. No surprise here, but he got an assist. Kenny, fair play, he got an assist. Fair play. But exactly what you said there. I recognize the sarcasm. I do. But what I have to say is this. You're absolutely right, Kenny, in the sarcasm, because it doesn't matter sometimes if you make. I said it many, many times. You can have the best assists in the world. You could have the best assist, the best goal record in the league. But I take it back to like Coutinho, who left Liverpool, who was fantastic, best assists, best goals. Right? Sometimes you have to remove something to make the whole thing better. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. It's like a foundation of a house, right? And then you got pillars all around the inside of a house. But one of those pillars is the middle pillar, and it's got the most weight it's carrying, but it's cracked. Sometimes you have to remove it to make the whole thing better. Look, I look at the game as a whole, right? Now you're telling me if we played a double pivot, If we played the double pivot and we had a double pivot in the game and we had Casemiro and we had Ugarte instead of Bruno in there, we wouldn't hold on for the 1-0. I think we would have. But then again, I'm not going to turn my flip-flop from this. I just don't believe that this team has the cultural mentality, the belief that they can hold on to games. And then they can see 2 goals and then we're back where we are. Big up, Kevin. How you doing, my friend? Sal, I will take the draw. We should had a victory in the game. January deals key factor. Absolutely, bro. Big up, Kevin. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Absolutely. January is a very, very important time. I saw Jim Ratcliffe in the stadium. I hope that Jim Ratcliffe is analysing the game like we are. I hope he's looking at that midfield and thinking, damn, our midfield is not good enough. I hope he's doing that because at the end of the day, the midfield is a big issue in our football team at the moment. And it's been an issue for a very, very long time, guys. A very long time. And we need to fix this. We need to fix this because we should have fixed it in the summer. We said in the summer that, you know what, I hope this doesn't come back to bite us on the backside. Do you remember what we were saying in the summer? I hope this midfield situation doesn't come back to bite us in the backside. And lo and behold, it kind of is. Like, you know, I reckon Man United will be near the top of the league if we had a midfield. I reckon Man United will be touching distance with Arsenal if we had a midfield. I actually believe that. If we had a midfield, if we had a competent goalkeeper in at the start of the season, we wouldn't have lost to Arsenal. There's an example. If we have the competent goalkeeper at the start of the season, we wouldn't have lost to Arsenal. Absolutely. Wesley, good morning. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Sal. My thing was, why did he sub Dorgu? He played well on Dalot. Think Amram doesn't know what to do anymore. It's nothing to do with that, mate. As I said there, if he can't sub Dorgu, who's on a yellow card, that's why. If he can't sub Dorgu, what can he do? He can't bring on any substitutes then. Who else is he going to bring on? You know, at the end of the day, we need quality in depth. That's what Man United are doing. He obviously does know what he's doing because we're 5 unbeaten, Wesley. He won at Anfield. You know, who wins at Anfield in the league? You know, so what I'm talking about is this. If he can't bring on any substitutes, you know, if he can't bring on any substitutes, what do you expect him to do? He needs quality in depth. This is an Ineos thing. This is a Glazers thing. He needs quality in depth, right? Now, you could say, and you can argue till the cows come home, but Dalot was on the pitch against Liverpool. You know what I mean? I don't think he was the biggest issue here. I don't think so. I think what Ruben Amorim needed to do was bring on Ugarte for Bruno. And as we said many, many times, over the last, it seems like a year now, you know what? Sub Bruno. Bruno should be substituted sometimes. But it seems like Bruno's untouchable. And this is the problem that we're having, is Bruno's untouchable. The 2 goals from Tottenham, I don't think there were individual errors in regards to the goals because they were quite good. The goals were quite good. They were good goals, right? And but what I would tell you this, and I would repeat myself on this one, Wesley. At the start of the second half, we were going to concede a goal. We were playing badly. What do you want Ruben Amorim to do? If Ruben Amorim left it and we lost the game, right, which we were conceding goals, Lamens kept us in the game. Right? If we could say, they would say, why didn't he make a change? Why didn't he substitute Dorgu? Dorgu got a red card. He saw that he had a yellow. Why didn't he substitute him? Hindsight's a beautiful thing. When we're talking about things in hindsight, it's a beautiful thing because you know what? We're all geniuses in hindsight. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. But if Ruben Amorim can't make any changes, he doesn't have the quality to make the changes, what do you want him to do? It's exactly what Cristiano Ronaldo said. What did Cristiano Ronaldo say? He can't make miracles. Right? Because at the end of the day, we don't have a squad. We don't have a good squad. It's pretty evident. You look at the Brighton game when our substitutes came on. Right? You look at the Nottingham Forest game. You look at the game against City, the game against Brentford, the game against... We don't have quality in depth. We have about 4 or 5 players that you say, yeah, that's good. We got that, but the rest, no. Dorgu was on a yellow. Absolutely, Kenny. Big up, Kenny. Kenny, draw was not at the end of the world, but in the greater scheme of things, it was missed opportunity to be second in the league. It was, and this is something that comes from the team. You know what I mean? This is something that is a mentality. How many times, guys, have Man United had an opportunity? And Man United had an opportunity to push up in that league and lost the opportunity. And this doesn't stem from just from this season. This stems from a long, long time ago. You know what I mean? This is what we're talking about. Teams drop points, and we don't take advantage of the teams dropping points. That's the thing. Kenny, if we didn't draw these last two games, we would have been second. Yeah, I mean, it would have been great. Well, draw against a team that has beaten us for three seasons is a good start. Well, look, at the end of the day, David says a draw is not the end of the world. But what we're analysing here, we're analysing a problem at Man United that we have to fix, because this is going to happen again. Man United need to fix this period in games, no matter who's on the pitch, guys. Let me just tell you this. No matter who's on the pitch, no matter what substitutes, a period in games where we just go in our shells. We disappear. We capitulate. How many times has this happened, guys? How many times have Man United gone into games, played well for the first half, 1-0 up, winning the game, things are going hunky-dory, second half starts, we capitulate in the period of the game. And then when we capitulate, then we pick it up. It's predictable. We predicted it in the same game. The game was identical to the Nottingham Forest game. Only difference is the goals came at a later time, right? That was the only difference, right? The game was identical. So different players were on the pitch at that game against Nottingham Forest, different players, but the same thing happened. So we have to look at this from a view that there is a problem mentally within the squad, that you get this feeling that we're going to concede a goal. We get the feeling that we're going to concede a goal. I had a feeling we were going to concede a goal before the substitutes came on. I knew that Man United were going to concede a goal. Senny Lamens kept us in the game, right? And that's it. That's what happened. Against Liverpool, we got a little bit lucky, but we controlled the game a lot better than we did against Spurs, right? It's probably our most controlled game of the season, right? But you're going to get moments in the game against Liverpool where Liverpool on top. That's life. That happens at Anfield. But we stayed firm. So they've proven that they can do it. But they've also proven, as I said before the game, that they can have Brentford moments. They can have Man City moments. Those moments, right? But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm not gonna say that, oh, it's the end of the world. That's it. We got an international break. But what I want to see this January, I want to see acknowledgement of the problems at Manchester United. I want to see this midfield fixed. And if we have to sell some to get some, so be it. Fix that midfield, because it's not doom and gloom, guys. We beat Sunderland. Arsenal can't beat Sunderland. You know what I mean? But this is what we're talking about. We beat Sunderland. You know, and this is the thing. This is the Premier League at the end of the day. Nothing is guaranteed. But there are problems at Man United in regards to our mentality and culture. Absolutely. Johnny, Spurs had no good attacker. Dorgu wasn't really at risk of another yellow. Why wasn't he at risk, Mr. Oracle? Why wasn't he at risk, Johnny? Why wasn't Dorgu at risk of a yellow card? Why wasn't he? He was on a yellow card. Why wasn't he at risk? He got a yellow card, didn't he? So he can get another yellow card. You know what I mean? Goodness me. It went wrong. Sesko went off. The game changed because we were playing with 10 men, and we did well with 10. We played better with 10 men. He should have kept Dorgu on the left or on the bench. Sesko got injured. No one to replace him. No one to replace him. We already made all our substitutes. Christian, good morning. How you doing, my friend? This is a mental thing. Ronaldo said it absolutely. Perfectly said, Christian. These players don't know what United is all about. I hope Martinez gets back soon. He's got the drive, determination, and passion. I agree. Well said, Christian. Thank you so much. You see, Christian, you see that? You don't just look at things on the physical. A lot of people look at things from the physical thing. We look at things from a mental thing, a cultural thing. And Cristiano Ronaldo, the best there ever was, said it himself. Some of these players don't have the mentality to play for Manchester United. It is a mental issue. It's a mental. You could bring any manager there is. You can bring any manager under the sun that there is. Do you know what? They're going to be the same, because some of these players don't have it. It's a cultural issue at this football club, you know, at the end of the day. It is a cultural issue at this football club. Johnny, Sal, do you remember seeing that moment where Bruno decided to do his cringy no flick and Ahmad knew that he would not get there and left it to Bruno and started ranting at him? Johnny, I know. Bruno, I said it in the summer, Johnny. Bruno should have been sold. Bruno's capable of magic moments. He is the corner. They'll go against Liverpool, the cross. But as an overall thing, Bruno, he harms the team. I'm sorry, but he does. He harms the team. And we have to be honest. He's not good in midfield. I don't know how many times we have to scream it from the rooftops. He just needs to be dropped. And I think that if some of these players were honest and they came out and they spoke their mind and they spoke their truth, they would say that Bruno just isn't that guy. Do you know what I mean? And if Man United want to move on, if Man United want to improve, and we are improving, guys, right? We're unbeaten in 5, right? It's been a long time since we said that. We are improving. But if Man United want to improve, if they want to get in that top 5, right, and challenge for league titles, they're going to have to move on from what the past was. We're going to flick the page and go to the next page, the next chapter. Because at the moment, we're reading the same chapter over and over and over again. Look, I know, you know, Aiden Heaven should play, Lenny Yoro should play, De Ligt. That should be our back three. That should be our back three. Aiden Heaven, De Ligt, and Lenny Yoro should be our back three, in my opinion. Our midfield needs to be revamped. We need an Anderson in there. We need an Adam Wharton in there. We need an Angelo Stiller in there. We need that. That's what we need. We get that. We need wing backs. You know, we need wing backs. We need 2 wing backs can actually cross the ball. I mean, Dorgu done well yesterday, in my opinion. Dorgu did well. I'll be honest with you. I felt he did all right. I felt we were solid on that side. He crossed the ball when he crossed the ball. He was a big part of the goal. Let's not forget that. He's a big part of the goal. I think he's improving immensely. But one thing that I would say is that I think Man United need an experience in there as well. I think Man United need a squad where they can bring on the likes of DiMarco, have a DiMarco, someone like that, someone who is experienced. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. Amram cost of the game with his subs can't play every game, full game when playing shit. That is the obsession. It's the obsession. I don't think the subs made a difference because we were dominated before the subs. We were concede a goal. It was Senny Lamens who kept us in the game. The 2 goals wouldn't have been prevented without the subs. At the end of the day, the 2 goals are brilliant from Tottenham. But what we say, it's not just about the subs. If Ruben Amram cannot make subs, right? The level, whether you bring on Casemiro for Ugarte, the level shouldn't drop. The level shouldn't drop. I agree with the Bruno thing. But we were being dominated before the substitutes. Let's not forget that, guys. Every one of us knew that we were being dominated before the substitutes happened. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Guys, let me know who your man of the match was. My man of the match was De Ligt, simply because he saved us the game. He was my man of the match, and I just want to praise De Ligt because over the last few months he's been put under the radar. So like, Senny Lamens was potentially man of the match for me. I think De Ligt, Senny Lamens were the man of the matches for me, in my opinion. Wesley, Sal, I heard there was a penalty shout on Casemiro. Do you think yes, it was a penalty, mate? Yeah. There was a couple of things that happened during the game that I was a little bit suspect about the referee again. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but we were 1-0 up, and you know what I would say is this, right? A competent mentality team, a team that is on the top of their mentality and belief, would win that game 2-0. I said it in a short video. I say that Man United will win that 2-0. A good team will win that game 2-3-0. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, when we were 1-0 up, this was a perfect opportunity. This was a perfect opportunity to say, we're 1-0 up, let's sit back, and let's just pick them off. When we got an opportunity, let's just pick them off. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Hindsight is a beautiful thing. Kenny, exactly. We agreed. We got dominated prior to the subs. And this is the key here, guys. This is the key. Who was on the pitch when we lost 2 goals in short succession against Nottingham Forest? Who was on the pitch? It was a different team, right? Different team. It was different, wasn't it? This is what we're talking about. It's not. It's a mentality issue. It's a culture issue, and we have to remember that this plays a huge role in football, right? You know, this plays a huge role in football. Now we were throwing everything like Sesko should have done this. This player should have done that. This player should have done this. At the end of the day, you know, my advice to Benjamin Sesko: it was a fantastic tackle by Van der Ven, a brilliant tackle from Van der Ven. We have to give him his corn, right? But in Premier League football, right? And I've been brought up with great strikers: Andy Cole, Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Dwight York. Let me tell you something about strikers in football. You don't get that much time, guys. In Premier League, this is not the Bundesliga. And this is my only. This is what I would say about Sesko. I like Sesko. I think he's got the makings of a great player. But in my opinion, in the Premier League, you don't get a second thought. You don't get that thought. So as soon as you get that opportunity, bam, hit it. Bam, in the back of the net. That's what you do in the Premier League. Let me tell you that right now. You don't get a chance to like, should I? No, you'll get tackled. You have to take that chance. Buff. Hit it. Hit it. Don't be scared to hit it. Don't be scared to hit it. The great thing about Sesko, which I love about Sesko, is that he gets in those positions. He gets in those positions. But let me tell Sesko, and I hope that Ruben Amorim is talking to Sesko now. Benjamin Sesko, when you get the opportunity, Sesko, make sure you take it. No second guessing. Hit it. Hit it. No one will say anything for you if it's a magnificent save to the goalkeeper. No one will say anything to you. But hit it. We know you can. I've seen you can. But you just have to be quicker. This is not the Bundesliga. You don't have time to think in the Premier League. You need to just take it where you can take it. Absolutely. Johnny, to be fair, to Mainu the other day, big up Johnny, by the way, hope you're doing well. To be fair, the other day said Mainu deserves to bat, but I can't because the midfield has been good. So I really can't fault Mainu in all this. I don't know. Because every time Mainu's come on so far, he hasn't really set the game alight. I've said it many, many times that when you come on as a substitute, and we know as Man United fans for 40 years, we know when you come as a substitute, you have to make an impact. Mainu's impact is this. Giving away a goal against Brentford, giving the ball away when he came on against Brentford. Another thing, putting us under pressure against Brighton. As soon as he came on, the team moved backwards. When you come on against Man United as a substitute, right? And I know it's unfair. I know, Johnny, I'm not saying it's fair, right? I'm not saying it's fair that he gets chances there. But when you come on as a substitute, make something happen. I'm talking about last season. He was poor. Poor. He had wages on his mind, right? That's what it had. You know, at the end of the day, Ruben Amorim's not going to come out and say that, oh, yeah, Maine's been crap. That's why I'm not playing him. He's not going to say that, is he? Let's be real here. He's going to say, I'm happy with my midfield. Of course he's going to say that. That is football talk. That's cliche talk. Of course he's going to say that. But what we have to understand is this, right? Mainu has not performed when he came on, right? Now, I agree. I would like to see more of Mainu. I want to see more. I want to see Bruno dropped. But Mainu was injured yesterday, guys. Let's not throw the book at that. Mainu was injured yesterday, which is why Mainu did not play, right? He was injured in training. So let's not too much in regards to that because he might have been brought on in the game. Now, in the AFCON, we've got Mainu, Xerxes, if they stay at the football club, that is, they got a great opportunity. Fantastic opportunity to show us why they should be in this football team at the end of the day. And he's got a point, Ruben Amorim. We're 5 unbeaten, right? We're 5 unbeaten, right? We beat Liverpool. We beat Chelsea. We beat in Sunderland. And they're not no mean fuzz. We beat in Brighton, you know? So at the end of the day, we have to look at that. And we have to say, well, he's got a point. But I would say this, that I think we'll be better if we had a double pivot. I think Ugarte and Casemiro should play that double pivot. You know, I would say that. Mainu was injured, Kenny. He was injured. Which is why he won in the squad. Good afternoon. What's going on, Ephraim? How are you doing? So probably some of our players will switch off that. Yeah, exactly this. And the players have been switching off since the days of Erik ten Hag. These players have been switching off since Erik ten Hag. So what I disagree with, and I look at things from a balanced point of view. I always do that. I don't just look at extreme points of view. The criticism in Amorim in the game is that he has this leadership group that are experienced, that seem to be put into this team no matter what. And I don't agree with that. Aiden Heaven, Lenny Euro should be starting this game. We need to be looking forward. Do you know what I mean? We need to be looking for Shea Lacey's been brilliant in the result. Bring him on the bench. See what he can do. Youth players seldom let you down. It's what Sir Alex Ferguson said. Put some of these youth players on the bench. Right? Let's see what they can do if they come on. If you're not going to play Xerxes, bring a youth player into the bench. That's what you do at the end of the day. We got some very, very good youth players. We got Mantato there, by the way. He can play right wing back. If you want him to play right wing back, he can play that as well. So I just feel like, you know, sometimes don't trust the players that have let Man United down for many, many years. Many, many years, some of these players have let down Ruben Amorim, the managers, all the managers that have been at Man United. These players have sacked various amounts of managers, we know. Big up Dan, what's going on? Big up Ephraim, by the way. Hi Sal, I thought that when Harry Maguire needed to be subbed, I thought it confused Amorim and it looked like a panic substitutions. Look, Harry Maguire is starting to get into a mode where he's starting to get injured. Now, one of the key characteristics about Harry Maguire is that he never got injured in the past. Now Harry Maguire started to get injured, right? I don't think, you know, I don't believe it should be Harry Maguire and De Ligt. I think they're too similar and I think that they're too slow. it should be Lenny Yoro. I don't think it really made a difference in regards to what happened in the game. I don't think the substitutes made a difference because in regards to the defensive side, because Lenny Yoro's more than capable of doing what he was. The 2 goals from Tottenham were very good goals. That's it, But I would say that, look, we need to shore up that defense, and it was a deflected strike, the first goal anyway. And the second goal was just buried in a goal. Great strike, of course. But what we have to look at is that, we got Lenny Yoro on the bench, and I don't think it should matter. But what I would say is that I think we need to stop starting Maguire and that. We need to get away from this. Ruben Amorim, I'm telling you right now, great managers, and I'm telling Ruben, I want to tell Ruben, great managers make big decisions. Great managers, right? And at the end of the day, Ruben Amorim is doing it his way. But what I want to see a future. I want to see a plan. I want to see a team that you think, we got Lenny Yoro, we got Aiden Heaven, we got De Ligt in defense. That's good for the future. We got Mentato coming through. We got, this is what I'm talking about. We got Diego Leon on the left. We got this going on. You know what I mean? I want to see more of that. I don't want to see Dalot, Shaw, Maguire, Bruno, Casemiro. Players that have played for years and years and are finished. They're finished at the end of the day. We have to be real. Cunha, Bruno putting in 50-50 tackles. No fight, just forcing things when he needs to calm down and control. Exactly. Did you see that passage of play? Cunha, did you see that passage of play where we were by the Tottenham box, right? And all Bruno needed to do was pass it. And he ran into a bunch of players and he got tackled. And we almost conceded the goal at the other end. It changed, in my opinion, there's something called passages of play. Passages of play is when you make a mistake or you do something silly and it changes the dynamic of a game. I actually believe that moment there completely put us under so much pressure and it gave Tottenham an incentive to move forward. And I think it ended up being in the goal, at the end of the day. And I think that Bruno needs to take responsibility. He needs to take responsibility because Bruno will have 5 good games, 10 poor ones, 15 poor ones. And we need to look at this, guys. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he's not a midfield central. And you know what? I would say this, right? We're doing all right. We're doing all right. We're doing okay. We probably will do all right after the international break. I'm looking forward to seeing after the international break because we got a few games there that we should win. We got a few games coming up that we should win. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen after the international break. Let's see what goes on because we got Everton. Obviously, look, I look at that Crystal Palace game and I think, guys, we got to start winning these games. We got to start winning away from home, right? Not just Liverpool. We got to win away from home against other teams. We've drawn against Fulham, right? We drawn against Nottingham Forest. We lost against Man City. We lost against Brentford. You know what I mean? And now we're drawn against Tottenham, right? We need to learn to win away from home. We need to learn to win away from home. And listen, I know Crystal Palace away from home, the game after the next game is a difficult game. But why not show us that you can win away to Crystal Palace? Because many of us in this stream, can you honestly see us going to Crystal Palace and winning? This is the thing. And we have to be real with ourselves. We have to win these games. If we want to get in that top 5, Arsenal will win these games. Arsenal would have won the game yesterday. You know what I mean? This is what we talk. So we need to look at that and say, like, we need to win these games. These games that, notoriously, historically, I mean, in recent history, heritage and all that, we have flattered to deceive and we've let ourselves down. So I think we'd be second if we didn't draw both games. We would be second, mate. We'd be challenging for the league, mate. This is life at the end of the day, but we could have drew against Liverpool easily, and this is life. But what Man United need to do, just like I said just now, is Man United need to learn to win games. We need to learn to hold on because how many times we should have beat Nottingham Forest? We were 1-0 up. We should have won that one and we should have won against Tottenham. We should have won against Fulham if it weren't for Bruno's petulance with the penalty. So that's 2 points extra against 2, 4, 6. 6 extra points. We'd be right way up there, comfortably up there. But that's football, isn't it? We beat Burnley on the last minute. These things happen. At the end of the day, so that's football. But you have to learn to make your own luck. You have to learn to hold on. You have to learn to win these games. Man United have to learn to win away from home. It's 50% of the league fixtures. You need to learn to win some games away from home. It's all good. All right, you beat Liverpool. That's all good. Brilliant. Fantastic result. Great result. Right? I'm sure any club in the Premier League would love to win away at Anfield. But come on. Fulham, Spurs. Games that in the Premier League that we can lose points against. Crystal Palace away, we got coming up. Newcastle away, we got coming up. These games are difficult for Man United, and you have to learn to win the games that are easier to win, if you know what I mean. So why Amram do not sub Bruno when he is not good at? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I think he's looking at Bruno and he's thinking of moments of brilliance. Now, I don't think you should think about football in moments. I think you should think about football as a whole, as a package. He's right in regards to when we played Liverpool, who made the moment of brilliance? Who was the moment of brilliance? It was Bruno. He gave the cross to Maguire, who buried it in the corner with the header, but the cross was absolutely sublime. You know, you look at Bruno, he is capable of that moment of brilliance. That assist, that dummy, should I say, against Brighton, things like that, Bruno can do. He got the cross. He got an assist, didn't he? He crossed it for De Ligt. He got the goal, but the assist for De Ligt. This is probably why he thinks that keeping Bruno on is advisable. But what I would say is that it's okay, you can keep Bruno on, but don't play Bruno in that middle of the pitch. Don't play him as number 8. Don't play him as a number 8. Play him as further up the pitch. Absolutely. Dan, what we have always said is the midfield is the problem. It's the problem. Absolutely. The quality Bruno does have is lost in midfield. Exactly. You know, we need to start thinking about playing players in the correct positions and fixing that midfield. But we said this at the beginning in the summer. We said this in the summer. I actually believe we just should have sold Bruno. We should have cashed in on Bruno. Should have got that 90 to 100 million and fixed our midfield. Everyone was saying it. You know, most people were saying it apart from the Bruno FC. Most people were saying it, you know. But guys, I want to brighten things up. Look, we look at things in a positive light. We're 5 unbeaten. I know that we can't keep playing like this. We can't keep saving games like this. This is not sustainable. And I would tell Ruben Amorim that we're not sustainable. We can't sustain this type of football because obviously saving games, just about getting through games and stuff like that is not the way you sustain. It's not sustainability. We need to find a way to control games. And how do you control games? Midfield. We need to control the midfield, and we're not controlling the midfield at the moment. And that is the biggest worry for me. And it's been like that for years. Dan, our central defenders have to keep stepping into midfield to fill in gaps, absolutely, and then exposes them in the back line, especially Shaw, who is always out. Exactly. But then again, you look at Shaw, Dan, and you look at Shaw, and Shaw's not a central defender. By trade, he's not a central defender. He's a left wing back. He's a left back. And we're playing him in a makeshift position. So all of his career, when he was raised and when we signed him, he was a left back. It's only recently that Luke Shaw's been transformed into a centre back. Now, I just don't believe that Shaw should be playing there. Aiden Heaven should be playing there. Now, you're absolutely right. The defense is coming out, stepping out into midfield, which is exposing gaps. They are compensating for the ill discipline from the likes of Bruno, right? Where Bruno's all over the pitch. And then we're being exposed in the midfield. But this is something that we've been talking about for months and months and months. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's no surprising to us that these things keep happening. That we keep getting exposed in midfield because there's ill discipline in the positions in midfield. We're getting outrun in midfield. We're getting 3 against 1 in midfield at times. And that's the problem. Casemiro looks dead on his knees because he's getting 3 against 1 sometimes. Because Bruno is ill-disciplined in his position. Now, I take it back again when we're thinking about Ruud van Nistelrooy. When Ruud van Nistelrooy was managing Man United, he played a double pivot. It was Casemiro and Ugarte, wasn't it? And we looked better than we ever looked. You know, we looked more attacking, actually. You know what I mean? And because the midfield was solid. It was solid, you know? And why does you think about it and you think about Ugarte? Why does Ugarte play so well for Uruguay and things like that? You know what I mean? And this is what we're talking about. You know, Ephraim, Sal, I think Cunha 10 position better than. I just think that he needs. I mean, even in the number 10 position, I've seen it in the past. I think even in the number 10 positions, he's a little bit ill-disciplined, even in that position. I think we just need to move on. I think we just need to move on from Bruno, and we need to get players in there that are for the future, in my opinion. You know, because we're hugging on to players too long. Absolutely. Big up, Amir. I hope you're doing well. And Dan. Sal, why I'm disappointed is we could have been top if he had got the midfielder for the start of the season. We all saw it. We all are from a team in the Premier League. Dan, we all saw it. And let's not throw the book at Ruben Amorim too much because we knew we needed a midfielder. I'm sure Ruben Amorim knew we needed a midfielder. This is why I gave it a 4 or 5 out of 10 window. You know, because we didn't fix the midfield. The most important thing in the team, the engine in the team, we did not fix. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day. So this is down to Ineos, right? Now, us being linked to midfielders in January means nothing to me because I think about it. I think, well, you should have got that done in the summer. You should have done that in the summer. Why are we thinking about midfielders now? You know what I mean? Because this is something that we should have fixed. Every man and his dog knew that we needed a midfield. You know, if we had Anderson, if we had Wharton, if we had Angelo Stiller, you know, if we had those players, even if we had Conor Gallagher, I guarantee you that we would be higher up the league, because I actually believe that there's a lot of good things about Man United, but there's a lot of bad things as well. Which is why we're still in touching distance. But I actually believe that Man United are not far away. We have got mental issues, not in a bad way, but I mean, like on the pitch, we have these 20, 30-minute spells in games where we just capitulate. And that comes from the leadership group, in my opinion. We got a leadership group there that isn't leaders. Ironic, isn't it? You know what I mean? And I just feel like we need to fix that midfield. Dan, we said it, absolutely. We were talking about it all summer. The midfield will be our nemesis. We can cope with wing backs and things like that, right? But the midfield, you can't sacrifice the midfield. You cannot sacrifice the midfield. Whether it be Scholes and Keane, whether it be Robson and Ince, you cannot sacrifice that midfield. Yeah, and we need to fix that in the summer. Absolutely. Johnny, the way Mbeumo tries to motivate the players and lead the press, I would argue he is more the captain. I agree with Johnny here. I think Mbeumo has been absolutely phenomenal. And I said it on Judge Mo's channel the other day. I think Mbeumo has been the signing of the season. And that is out of the Premier League. I think Mbeumo is a captain. I do. I actually think Cunha, he didn't play well yesterday, Cunha, but I think he's more of a captain than Bruno. I think De Ligt's more of a captain than Bruno. I think Lemens is more of a captain than Bruno. And one thing about Lemens, guys, nostalgia hour. Wasn't it beautiful when we saw Senny Lemens coming up for a corner? Schmeichel-esque. It was good, wasn't it? I actually thought he scored that one, but it was obviously De Ligt, guys. But yeah, look, I agree with Johnny here. Look, I agree. Bruno is not a captain. There's a reason. When Bruno came into Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I don't know if you remember, when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was manager of Man United, right? He didn't want to put Bruno as captain. There were many fans that were calling for Bruno to be captain, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't want to put Bruno as captain. He kept Maguire as captain. I think there's a reason behind that. You know, I don't think Bruno's a captain. I think he's a winner. He wants to win, but he's one of them people who is defensive, he's not productive in his captaincy. He's not productive. He doesn't, like, we said it during the game, Johnny. If you were here, you'll see. We said it during the game. When we were being dominated by Spurs, before Spurs scored, we were being dominated by Spurs. Let's be real, right? And it was only a matter of time before Spurs scored. And I said during the game, Bruno needs to grab these players by the scruff of the neck, and he needs to move them forward and give them confidence, because I'm not seeing a captain. He was hiding. Now, this favoritism with Bruno needs to stop. It needs to stop. It does need to stop. I agree. The favoritism for Bruno needs to be eradicated, needs to be deleted, because at the end of the day, it's not working. It's not working, and we need to move on from this. I don't know, but we just seem to hug on to things so long. We seem to hug on to players for too long and keep them in the team for too long. And look, it's pretty evident that we need to move on. This leadership group. What is this leadership group? We don't need a leadership group. We need a team. We need a squad of leaders. We used to have that, didn't we? That's what we need. We don't need a leadership group. That opens the door for arrogance and untouchability, if that even is a word. The untouchables, I would say. The untouchables. Maguire, Shaw, Bruno, maybe an element and an extent Casemiro. You know what I mean? And those sort of players. We need to think about the future. I want to look at Man United. I want to say, well, we won a great result, but you know what? If we drew 2-2, guys, yesterday, right? Let's be honest, guys. If we drew 2-2 yesterday, right? If we drew 2-2 with Lenny Yoro, with Aidan Heaven, with Matato, with Shea Lacey, with other younger players in the team, right? I think you think we're getting there, We're getting there. It'd be more like, yeah, we're getting there. We got the nucleus of young players. These players are young, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and we maybe in the future, in a year's time or something, we're going to be world-class team. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. And that's what I would say. But when you see Shaw, Bruno, Maguire, Casemiro, Dalot, you just don't feel enthusiastic because you don't see a future in it. You don't look at the future and think, yeah, like, you know what, we're going to be all right in the future. These players are gaining experience and blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. You just see, bloody same old, isn't it? Same old players. And you know what? They need to be gone. Dan, my man of the match was Lamens at a point blank say. Well, I mean, did you see that save from Romero, guys? Guys, at the end of the day, what did I say about Lamens? I mean, I said it in the summer. I said it before people were even talking about Lamens. I said it before, way before even people knew Lamens was. I said Lamens is the goalkeeper for Man United. He's going to be the goalkeeper for Man United for the next 10 years. Let me tell you that right now. If it wasn't for Lamens yesterday, we would lose that game. Make no bones about it. If Bayern or Nana were playing in goal yesterday, we would have lost that game. Let's be real here. I mean, we would have lost that game. Stop all this Amron Costas the rubbish. It's the same old players let down. We have a massive hole in the midfield. That's the problem. And thank you to Ineos for that. Thank you for leaving our midfield redundant. Well done for leaving our midfield redundant, because if it was the midfield was fixed, if he spent a bit of monies, maybe we might be up near the top. You know what I mean? Champions League, money, money, money. Invest to reinvest. Invest to reinvest. You know what I'm saying? You know, at the end of the day, that's how you make profits, isn't it? Invest. And they invested in the attacking wise. A great signing Bremer was, but don't leave the midfield with You needed to sign a couple of midfielders in there, if not free. I mean, it's mad, isn't it? Ephraim, Delict is becoming our most important player in our team. I think he is. I think he's the captain. He showed captain material yesterday when he leaped above everyone for that header, guys. He leaped above everyone. Dan, sad to say Højlund would have scored that Sesko chance, but I mean, I don't know. We don't know. He missed a lot of good chances. He only scored 2 last season, so let's not forget that. Sesko's already matched his tally this season. So at the end of the day, what I would say is that, look, I would tell it like I said earlier in the show. He will learn. He's only been at the club a few months, right? He will learn. In the Premier League, the great thing about Sesko, Rasmus wouldn't even get in that position. Let me say. But let me tell you something, right? I like the fact that Sesko's getting in the position. But what my advice to Benjamin Sesko would be, you don't get the same time in the Premier League as you do in the Bundesliga. In the Premier League, it's first time shot. It's not analyze, look up, and place it. Nah. And that is the Premier League. You have to take it first time. You have to take it first time and bury it. That's what you have to do. Take your opportunity. He who dares wins. William, to be honest, Mainu has a slow impact on the games. The time he's in the game, he is over. Lack of playing time and confidence. Big up, William. I agree. Mentality, United players are not strong. I agree with that one, my friend Yusuf. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing well, bro. I hope you're good. Good. I agree with that. Kevin, Brian Bremer is on fire. He's going to be missed when the AFCON. He's going to be missed, absolutely. This is why we need a squad, isn't it? This is why I'll start integrating the likes of Shea Lacey and players like that of that ilk. This is why Man United looking for loan deals. This is why Man United looking into bringing Paqueta and Hendrick and players of that ilk, because obviously the attacking third is going to be a problem. On the right-hand side in particular, we're going to have a problem. What we can do, obviously, is bring Bruno into that number 10 and move Mainu into the middle of the park. That's what we can do. But as we know, we're going to be very threadbare, and that is risky as well. Man United do need to bring in some loans, definitely. Or sign some players. Angelo Stiller. Sign Angelo Stiller. Sign an attacker. Go out there and get it. Bloody hell. William, central midfield is the link for attack and defense. Without it, you have no strike. Exactly. And you can't shoehorn players into that. I'll give you an example, right? When Wayne Rooney was put into the midfield in his latter stage at Man United, we tried to move him into midfield. Now, there's only a certain player that can do that. Pirlo, Ryan Giggs, that sort of player. But Rooney couldn't do it. And we were exposed a number of times in that midfield. And to be honest with you, we don't have a midfield. It's as simple as that. We have Casemiro, who's dead on his legs. He's finished. And we have Bruno, who's not a midfielder. So where do we go with that? Is that a recipe for success? It's not a recipe for success, is it? Absolutely not, guys. Absolutely. But there you go, guys. Absolutely. I just want to thank everyone, by the way, for joining me today. Thank you, everyone, guys. Thank you, everyone. Big up, Kenny. Big up, my friend. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I will be back later on for Chatterbox. Don't forget to join me for that, guys. Really appreciate everyone in the stream. Really do. Guys, don't forget, keep your notifications on in case I go live. Maybe do another watch along and stuff. You never know, guys. But thank you, everyone, for joining me at this short notice. Obviously, it's an hour earlier show, but thank you, guys. And we'll be back to normal tomorrow. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash a like on the video, all that sweet stuff, guys. We will be back after the international break, guys, and hopefully Man United get some wins under their belt and move up that league. Hopefully we don't have the deja vu again, guys. But thank you, everyone, for joining me. Thank you, everyone, for the input. Really appreciate everyone, guys. Take it easy. Have a great day, and I'll see you later on for Chatterboxer. I'm Sal Warner. This is Breaking Dawn. See you soon. Peace.